Hi again, everyone. So I wanted to just talk about a question that was asked is how do I stop craving sugary foods? Now, the problem with sugary foods is that when you eat them, they spike your sugars. And because they spike your sugars, your body releases a hormone called insulin, which then causes your glucose levels to drop again. And one tends to start going on a bit of a roller coaster ride with spikes of sugar, down sugar, up sugar, down sugar. And what we've seen with many of the patients that I treat is that as they have this rise of sugar within an hour, and then down the sugar goes after about 2 to 3 hours, and they feel hungry again. And most people who would know this just in their own day-to-day life. They have sugary breakfast, for instance, some cereal or something really sugary like Cocoa Pops or French toast or something. And within 2 hours or 3 hours, they're feeling hungry again and they want to eat something else. So they find a chocolate or a fruit or cool drink and sort of allays their hunger for a short while. And within another hour or two, they're hungry again. And they go in the cycle of up and down and eating and craving foods. So how do you actually break that cycle? Well, obviously, it's not as easy as one thinks. But the first start is actually just to start changing what you eat first thing in the morning. And so many of the times I recommend to my patients, especially my diabetic patients, that in fact they change to something that's a little bit more healthier, maybe like eggs with some bacon if you can eat that, eggs with some avo, or even just leftover supper, that's a piece of meat and a bit of fat on it, or vegetables that they stop the kind of start of the cycle right at the beginning of the day, and then slowly move on to changing meals with other meals. So mostly we find that when patients eat much less sugary foods, that's going to start the process. Obviously, we're not going to get rid of all these cravings right immediately, but we find that if we can just start the day a little bit better, it'll become a bit easier. But it does mean really rethinking what you start the day with, whether you started with a cereal, sugary food, or whether you actually started with something that's a little bit more protein-based with a bit of fat in it. And as you start to do that, you'll start to find over a few days even, and it doesn't take long, that in fact your cravings get a little less, and you can actually have longer periods of time between when you need to eat. And in fact, we really shouldn't be eating more than 2 to 3 times a day, and have periods of fasting in between because they're important. And I'll speak a little bit about that as well. All right. I hope that helps to answer some of the issue around how do we overcome the cravings of sugar.